episode 2 from season 1, Unmuzzled, a podcast that's spelled Pawdcast with Sarah Lauk. Hi, everybody. First of all, thank you so much for the feedback on episode 1. It already has 500 downloads, which is impressive. That does not even include the live stream that we did, which I've not looked at those numbers, but great for a first week. Again, thank you to the sponsors. We're going to hear more about them soon. But I also wanted to give you a really important update because, as you guys remember, we talked to the man that rescues dogs, Michael, and Duong, who we talked about, who had a double amputation because she had cancer in her front legs. I was able to pay for that amputation through my foundation, Live Like Roo Foundation, which in Thailand only cost us $170. So thank you so much to everybody. And please, if you're not following him, even in the past week, I've seen more of him because I've engaged more with the pages. Please check it out. The American dollar, like I just said, goes so far there. And even if you can donate $10 to him, I know he would appreciate it. And Michael and I have been talking all week. I really love and admire what he does. And I really would like our listeners and followers and everybody to please check out that organization. It's really amazing, incredible what they're doing. Thank you, Barb Fitz. I'm glad you like my microphone. Guys, so a few things. We have an incredible guest coming on, and I'm not going to lie, I just started following not long ago. He and his squirrel, they both have super fans all over the world. And I cannot wait for you guys to meet them. They're incredible. But Mark and Peanut the squirrel are coming up really soon. So please hang out. I do want to please thank my sponsors. So just let's give them a little bit of time. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors, Bark Pouch. Bark Pouch believes there's no greater joy than a delightful time with your dog or dogs. So they make irresistible lickable treats that are easy to use while walking, training, grooming, familying, and friending. And they're even great for vet visits. Go to barkpouch.com for more. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield in Illinois is just blocks south of CBH Hospital on the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. K9 Cruise. K9 Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a spacious yard, they are the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Thank you so much to those presenting sponsors. Unmuzzled is supported by the following sponsors. Twin Tails Market and Barkery is a local family-owned business that has been serving the community for close to 7 years. Located in Palos Park in Illinois, Twin Tails has everything you need to give your dogs and cats healthy and natural food, treats, chews, toys, and so much more. You can also find them at twintailsmarket.com and on Facebook and Instagram as Twin Tails Market. The K9 PT. The K9 PT specializes in helping senior dogs improve their independence with their daily routine as they age, heal, or recover post-surgery through exercise, massage, laser, and acupuncture, so they can live their golden years without the need of pain medication. Check out the K9 PT. Anything is Plausible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Also a supporting sponsor is Liz Starks at Guaranteed Rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Buyers, sellers, or investors, give Liz a call. NMLS number 224526. Thank you, Liz. Kimberly Kingen Photography. Kimberly is a professional photographer from Chicago who loves animals as much as you do. Her pet portraiture celebrates pure love, connection, and the beauty of life with our furry loved ones by our side. Canine Therapy Corps. Give back and volunteer with your dog at Canine Therapy Corps. Volunteer teams empower and motivate individuals through goal-directed, animal-assisted therapy services free of charge across Chicagoland. Visit caninetherapycorps.org for more information. Ooh, thank you, sponsors. I gained 3 since last week. Seriously, I'm so thankful. You have no idea. Again, you guys are kind of flying with me. Relaunching this podcast has been a lot of work, but it has been so much fun. And now I'm going to bring in our guest of honor, Mark and Peanut. Hello, Mark. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, so I know that Peanut gets so much attention, but before we start, I want you to tell everybody about you, please.
Oh my goodness, this is a first because it's usually all about him.
I know. I'm going to tell you right now, this podcast, I watched a lot of your interviews. A lot of it was fluff. This is going to be a little bit more than what you usually get. So, but I know you're up for it.
Perfect. Well, my name is Mark. I am originally from Connecticut, but I recently moved to New York. I am a mechanical engineer by day and a squirrel and cat dad by night. But that since has changed. Now I have about 70 for animals around my property, and it kind of all started because of this little squirrel who has his little cat sister in the room, so he's a little preoccupied about seeing what she's doing. But yeah, I don't normally get to talk about myself. I tend to just keep the pages about Peanut, but it's always a little bit nice to talk about yourself.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, I was going to mention that he does have a sister, Chloe, right? Chloe the cat.
Yeah.
Which, when we see squirrels and dogs or whatever in the wild, usually we see them going after squirrels. So it's just remarkable.
It was one of those things where I was really stressed out about. I am a huge animal lover, but I've always picked cats. Cats have always been my number one. Love the independence. They give you the time of day when they want it, and I love it. So Peanut came first. I found Peanut on the side of the road, and he's all pancaked out. Side of the road one afternoon. Unfortunately, his mom got hit by a car, and long story short, I ended up bringing him home, rehabbing him for about 8 months. We went back outside in hopes we could live a wild life, and unfortunately, a day and a half into Peanut's wildlife career, he ended up getting attacked, and he lost half of his tail. So after that, he was just deemed non-releasable. He never developed those wildlife instincts to survive, so he became an indoor squirrel. And after Peanut, I did get to be a part of about 9 other rescue and releases for squirrels. And Peanut didn't like the other squirrels. So I never understood it. I was always, the theory was maybe another squirrel attacked him. And one day I saw this cat that needed to be rescued, and I was like, what's the worst that could happen? She could just eat him. But I brought her home, and she was a tiny little kitten. And I put her down and really didn't know what to do. And immediately when I put her down, Peanut ran right to her. They sniffed each other, and then they started running around. So it became that like instant friendship that I never thought would ever happen. And so we put it on the internet, and everybody loved it. So Peanut and Chloe just started to sit in the window together, and eventually they were deemed my like neighborhood watch. And so we just started making funny, cute videos with them. And then we kept the duo going, and with the waffles and making breakfast and all that fun stuff. He's a character. The last thing this squirrel thinks he is a squirrel. Litter box trained, lets me trim his nails. He also dresses up. So it's a really unique situation, and I love the fact that I get to share it with the world.
Yeah, it is remarkable. And I will say you do. So if you guys are not following them, you can follow Peanut the Squirrel 12. TikTok, I think, has your most following, but you've got a ton on Instagram as well as Facebook. You've got a huge amount as well. So I think, there's going to be a lot of questions. And guys, remember, this podcast is for you. This podcast is not for me. So please, if you have questions or comments or anything, I'm going to ask Mark. That's why he's here. So please ask away. But I obviously have a million questions. First of all, I think with the social media, it's interesting because you do a really good job of going. I always see you're live all the time, but there's a little bit of pressure there too, to constantly deliver. And, I've seen some of the comments on your videos. I think you and I were talking before this started about why you're showing the same things. Well, why am I live? Because you never know what's going to happen. And I think from your standpoint, you probably feel pressure a little bit every day to deliver new content. And as somebody with a ton of followers, does that pressure ever get to you?
Thankfully, over the time, I've learned to kind of mellow out because I would lose sleep over time. As much as this is just like a very fun animal the pages. But, again, coming up with new content was always tough because, again, it's a squirrel. It's an animal that you don't normally see inside. And I don't ever want to pressure him to do the things that, people ask. So I always kind of feel out what he's feeling first. And there's a lot of days where he wants nothing to do with anything. And there's days where I can't get enough of him on the camera. So it is, it's a very pressured thing, but a lot of people have understood over the time when doing this is very tough, especially doing your own career and doing all this other stuff and then trying to fit the social media stuff in. It does tend to get to you sometimes, but thankfully everybody is very, very supportive and loving, and a lot of people end up reaching out and going, okay, you're still doing the same stuff, but here's a couple ideas of maybe what we can do. So we kind of been very fortunate enough to have a good following of people that enjoy him, and sometimes a lot of people just enjoy him just sitting down and showing the laziness of a squirrel that you don't tend to normally see. And it's just kind of to show everybody what the day in the life of a squirrel, an indoor squirrel is, and whether it suits your lifestyle or not. We try to just make it for everybody else. So it does get to us every once in a while, but living with a superstar is a tough thing to do. So I have to make sure that he is on board with anything we do, and then I just kind of ride the coattail.
So that is one of my questions, because I feel like maybe half the audience is there for the squirrel and the other half might be there for you. There's a lot of videos where you're, scantily clad, you're in your workout gear. But how have you taken to that? Because again, I've seen some of the comments, but I don't think he's the only star of the TikTok and Instagram going on.
I love a good compliment, but I've always tried to keep this about him. The funny thing is I don't want to, spend too much time telling stories, but I had really bad surgery in my lower half. So the gym clothes and stuff has always been for my comfort and not everybody's pleasure, but it turned out the counter opposite. So I did have, major surgery. I had hernia surgery. So the compression pants actually have always helped me. So that was never really my intention of how this page would go. I'm thinking, okay, there's a squirrel holding a waffle or holding a sign, wearing a cowboy hat. And some people are kind of missing the point of the videos. But, I took it, as best as I could. Because again, with all the fun that we have does come a lot of negativity. And then you get it. Again, it's the internet. And I kind of tell people you have to develop that thick skin or people are just going to eat you alive. So as much as I enjoy a good compliment, I think everybody does. I kind of just always steer clear of it. I always try to bring it back to Peanut because that's ultimately what we're here for. Some people might come and see me, but again, the ultimate reason why we're even being able to do this is because of this animal right here. And I've always wanted to keep it that way. I was never making it my intention to ever steal the limelight from him, because at the end of the day, I'm just a normal person living a normal life and just have a really cool animal. So I always wanted to just keep it there. But some people on TikTok find the background noise for sure. And some of those videos kind of took off, and that was my last intention. But goodness, if you pop some popcorn and read some of those comments, you'll have the time of your life all night long.
Yeah, and I love that. I love, that you say you're a normal guy, just living your life. And I think what you've done now, and we'll get to the sanctuary, the rescue, which is just amazing. But can you I want to go back to him a little bit, sorry, but just how do you learn how to raise a squirrel, I guess? Do you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants? Because like you said, I saw some of your interviews, the vets and rehabbers didn't want to take him on. So you kind of just did it yourself. But how do you do that? And the other question is how does he live day to day? Is he making a nest in your house? Because what I envision and what I've seen is you sweeping up kind of the mess that he makes.
Oh, yes. So we could start again. When I found him, I didn't know a single thing about a squirrel. The one thing that came to my mind is this animal's dumb. All they do is run in front of cars, and that's the end of their life. And then here he came into my life, and the vets were very, very nice. They just literally, hands down, we don't have enough expertise. We really don't know if he's carrying anything. We would just put him down. The rehabber, I was living in an area where there wasn't too many rehabbers, and she just unfortunately couldn't take on another animal. So the Google searches began, and after the Google searches, a lot of the information was contradictory. Some things were good, then you go to another place and it's bad. So what I did was I just snapped a picture of Peanut on day one, and I made an Instagram for him and just reached out and said, hey, I found this squirrel. Can anybody help me? And two wonderful people reached back out and literally step by step helped me in everything. They gave me the do's and the don'ts. And the biggest issue is Peanut is so picky when it comes to food. So they're telling me to go get this formula, this kitten formula, make this goat milk formula, and Peanut would not eat it. So I was just so concerned that there was actually a problem with him. So my family and I came up with this idea: if we just mash up a little bit of the formula powder with some avocado, maybe he'll take it. And he just stuffed his face right into it. And, we had to come up and improvise with this animal. And through the course of it, I kind of was a little hard on myself, because here I was not knowing how to, raise an animal like this. And I also didn't want to affect any of his wildlife stuff. If he's going back outside at the end of this rehab, I just want to make sure that he's going to be okay. So we did everything in our efforts, and the women that helped me were incredible. They said, listen, whatever you do, it's not going to change the outcome. Whether you cuddle him, whether you watch TV with, it's just not going to change the outcome. He's eventually going to mature and become the wild animal that he's supposed to be. And, he showed little bits here and there and here and there. And I just figured maybe he's still young and it just hadn't come yet. But, that day and a half outside and him coming back, I found him missing on my porch, missing half of his tail. So I realized then that he just didn't develop those instincts to survive. And he became a strictly indoor animal after that. We even tried to get a customized harness to see if we could reintroduce him outside. And he would get so stressed out and he would cry. He would go and hide. He wanted nothing to do with the harness. And eventually he ended up finding the harness one day and chewed it. And the biggest things I always get is, how do you live with a squirrel? Does he chew everything? You must have to deal with everything. The biggest con about having him is the disaster he makes with his food. And this is just Peanut. I try to share my experience because he is such a unique squirrel. For instance, if the avocado I feed him isn't too ripe, he'll hide it in my shoe. If it's overly ripe, he'll throw it on the ground and then rub his face where all the avocado is all over my shirt. So he has dictated all the rules in the house and I just have to follow him. So definitely the diva of the house for sure.
I love that. I love that so much. He seriously is amazing. The fact that he's just sitting there. So I know my mom has taken, my mom actually lives in Pennsylvania. I know you're in upstate New York, but she has taken in squirrels too that fell out of the nest or, they found on the driveway. And, I remember just even today I was researching about squirrels. Their actual lifespan in the wild is not long. And usually it's because of disease or things they pick up. But when you domesticate a squirrel, what I've read is they can live up to 20 years. So
Right.
you're on year 6 now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, just incredible that you could actually have him for a long time when many of us are just used to squirrels having a very short lifespan.
Right. And it was something that I didn't realize until I started doing a little bit more research, and people like, you're going to have a lifelong pet. And ever since then, I realized that he's going to outlive me. If Chloe and Peanut put their brains together and I go missing, what happens. But that was like one of the best things that I thought of when I heard that was because of him and the rehabbing and daily life with him. My life consists of so many things that involve Peanut now. So, I wake up, we have breakfast together, we brush our teeth together, we get dressed. He's the first person to greet me. And this is the funniest thing. I've had him for 6 years, give or take a few weeks. And although she's downstairs, I met the woman of my dreams because of this squirrel right here. And I ended up marrying her. So I really lucked out when it came with Peanut. And he's very good with everybody, which was another key thing that, squirrels don't really do is they're kind of like birds and they like one or two people. Peanut attracts everybody. When Peanut is in a room with new people, he walks up to these people like he's known them for years. And it's the funniest thing. And also like my jealousy kind of teeters. But I would say be able to do about 70% of the things that I do, and that 30% is usually me just checking his teeth or like touching him the ways that I would instead of somebody else doing it. My wife came into the picture and she could do 120% of the things, and she'll walk into the room and he will bypass anything I do. I could have his favorite treat in my hand and he'll bypass me for my wife. So if you tend to see my wife in the videos, she might actually be the new squirrel parent here, and I'm just kind of in the real background now behind those two.
Yeah, squirrel mom. We'll have to have a squirrel mom, right?
Oh yes.
So yeah, Danny, I think her name's Danny, right?
Yeah.
Danielle. Yeah, she's in a lot of your videos. I love her. I love that she's part of it too. It's just like it's like the cutest little family dynamic. So again, please, everybody go follow him. Go look at the videos. They're incredible. You'll see why so many people are following them. I love it so much. But again, a way to carry on the legacy is Peanuts Freedom Farm. Sorry, I called it the sanctuary, but very similar. So Mark, tell us, I mean, this is just an incredible way to carry on his legacy. We don't like to think about when he's gone, but you've already started this amazing farm. So tell us what it is.
Right. So, my wife and me are very huge animal lovers. And because of Peanut and so many people that we have met, I consider a lot of these people I've never met before in person, true family members. And one day my wife and I, came together about a year ago and said, hey, you know what? We have Peanut's pages that are huge. And what can we do that could actually fulfill a legacy here? Because I know I have met TikTokers and Instagrammers and all of these people, and not saying they're bad, but you get put in a position where you start to be in the limelight, and a lot of people take that and they think they become famous or they become better than everybody else. I didn't want this page to ever become that way, and I thought, since we have such a big following, we could really do something in the animal community. So my wife and I went on a manhunt to find, an area where we thought would be the best to start an animal sanctuary, and we moved upstate New York, and we had enough space to start one. So my wife is a horse lover. She's an animal lover. And right off the bat, as soon as we kind of mentioned it to a few people, they were like, oh my God, not only is this a great way to use Peanut's pages, but also remind yourself that this is a very big thing to take on. And so we made sure that we did all of our research and everything that we could possibly do and sat down and said, okay, let's do this. And so we started Peanut's Freedom Farm Animal Sanctuary, where we travel the country to rescue neglected animals or homeless animals. And it's not always that the animals are in bad situations. These could be rehomed animals where, somebody might have lost a job and they just can't afford to have an animal. I have the utmost respect for those people that can just genuinely look at themselves in the mirror and say, you know what, I can't take on this animal anymore, instead of doing it for their own selfish needs. So since we started, we have actually rescued a little over 60 animals. So we do have about 20 horses, we have goats, we have cows, we have donkeys, obviously a squirrel and a cat. And, the love and support for this has been incredible. So, we were able to get our nonprofit approved, and we're officially a nonprofit sanctuary in Peanut's name. So what we're doing right now is just, doing all the building and the construction and making sure these animals get the proper nutrition and living their best life. I can't tell you the before and afters and how incredible the feeling is. It reminds you that, these animals give you unconditional love all of the time. They could be in the worst situations possible. If you show them a little bit of love, it's like they forgot what they went through. And that's the real reason why we do this. Pulling 16-hour days is so rewarding when you see these animals and how happy they are. So that was our biggest thing is, putting this in like writing and making it a legacy for Peanut and turning it into something good. Because at the end of the day, you don't know how long the internet is going to last or how long, your 15 minutes is going to be. Obviously, Peanuts has lasted for 6 years, so I don't really get a break from him. But it was just something we thought would be an incredible thing, and it's been a great start. We've been about 9 weeks of being a sanctuary, so it's been really great.
Yeah, and such a need for it. I mean, I can't imagine, the requests that you're going to get. I assume it's going to be a lot because there's such a good need for that. And thank you. I mean, it's really incredible. I know how hard it is to start a foundation. For those of you that have been listening to this podcast for a while, that I started the Foundation for Animals with Cancer. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work just to get the nonprofit status. So kudos to you, Mark and Danny, just doing incredible work. We really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. And I hope you come back. Maybe, we'll have you back in a year. You can give us a little update on how he's doing. But everybody, please go follow them. I can't say enough about the videos. Like, I'm just like my guest last week, Michael, and the man that rescues dogs. I just like want more content. So as soon as you get on there, you're going to want more. And Mark delivers. You will see he pops up. They're live and all over TikTok. So thank you, Mark.
I thank you so much. I just want to give everybody a disclaimer. I can't sing, dance, or act, so don't kill me in the comments, please.
I mean, honestly, I don't think you need to do any of that. I think you're doing just fine. So all good. Thank you so much, Mark. You've been a great guest, and I really appreciate your time. I know how busy you are, and I really, really appreciate it. We'll be following along, that's for sure.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been a true pleasure.
Awesome. Take care.
You too. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I wanted to talk about next week. So next week is Joyce, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Thank you. Oh, Carrie, I thought that you were going to hop on the podcast and super fan with Mark there for a bit. So I know you had the link to hop on. Joyce, thank you so much for your comments. Barb, I see these questions. Sorry, we just didn't make it to them, but we will, you can ask him. He actually replies to comments and questions and DMs on everything. Thanks, Ginger, for sponsoring. Okay, so next week, guys, I wanted to talk about PetCon. PetCon is coming to Chicago this year, and Live Like Roof Foundation has a booth there. So on next Thursday, we will have, I can't, like this, the gift gives me chills. If you know me and my love for Chihuahuas, we will have Jem and the Misfits will be on. And obviously the founder of Jem and the Misfits will be here with some Chihuahuas. So I also will have some more guests for the PetCon preview podcast, but I can't tell you how excited I am to have them. Really, I reached out and didn't think that we would be able to get them. And I know, Ginger, you will love them so much. Yes. Okay. Just a reminder, Krista, that's a great point. So for everybody on here, you don't have to watch this live. You can listen to the podcast tomorrow. Actually, I usually post it tonight, but if you subscribe on Spotify, here you go. If you subscribe on any of these, basically, you can subscribe anywhere that has a podcast: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon. Basically, hit the subscribe button. Every time I have a new podcast that posts, you will get an update. So really important. You don't have to watch live. Basically, this live video is just so you can see the guests. You can see some visuals with the podcast. So I was able to show Peanut the Squirrel if you were watching it live. But it's even better when you listen. So if you subscribe, you'll get a notification. Otherwise, I do post a direct link. I know some people have never listened to a podcast, so I walked them through that this week. But they make it really easy. Pandora. No. So Krista, what I'll do is I'll send you a direct link. So when you get the direct link, you can listen on your desktop or you can download it. Apple, perfect. So Apple Podcast, we're on there and just look for Unmuzzled, a podcast with Sarah Lauk, and you will find it. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Thank you again to our presenting sponsors, Kiki's Corner, Canine Cruise, and Bark Pouch. That really means a lot to me. We also have a ton of new supporting sponsors, and I appreciate them as well. Actually, I'm going to roll them out. Unmuzzled is supported by the following sponsors. Twin Tails Market and Barkery is a local family-owned business that has been serving the community for close to 7 years. Located in Palos Park in Illinois, Twin Tails has everything you need to give your dogs and cats healthy and natural food, treats, chews, toys, and so much more. You can also find them at twintailsmarket.com and on Facebook and Instagram as Twin Tails Market. The Canine PT. The Canine PT specializes in helping senior dogs improve their independence with their daily routine as they age, heal, or recover post-surgery through exercise, massage, laser, and acupuncture so they can live their golden years without the need of pain medication. Check out the Canine PT. Anything is Plausible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Also a supporting sponsor is Liz Starks at Guaranteed Rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Buyers, sellers, or investors, give Liz a call. NMLS number 224526. Thank you, Liz. Kimberly Kingen Photography. Kimberly is a professional photographer from Chicago who loves animals as much as you do. Her pet portraiture celebrates pure love, connection, and the beauty of life with our furry loved ones by our side. Canine Therapy Corps. Give back and volunteer with your dog at Canine Therapy Corps. Volunteer teams empower and motivate individuals through goal-directed, animal-assisted therapy services free of charge across Chicagoland. Visit caninetherapycorps.org for more information. Supporting sponsors, thank you guys so much. Also, sorry about the early time. I've got to go to my cat client who needs meds right now. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week at 7 o'clock.